I've never really had a good answer because it makes no sense to me. I think women are women I know and some of the writers on the show, women are some of the funniest people I know. But Alex said something earlier that I think she should repeat about why that phrase still persists.
Oh, well, I think that phrase, it's usually spoken by someone who is not a woman. It is usually spoken by men. And I think when you look at a funny woman, what does she have most? She has confidence, and confidence is power. And I think it comes down to this power struggle, this kind of white male. We want to be the top of the food chain, and they want to kind of beat that down and just exclaim, "A woman is not funny." It's about power. It's about a way to continue to kind of keep women in a lesser position.
And there's nothing more frightening than a confident woman. It's been cool to be able to craft our own world. We realized the other day, not even by our own design, that we have worked almost exclusively with women top to bottom on all the projects that we've been producing and that are in development. And we realized that we didn't even know very many male writers, and we need to do a better job of making our own company more equitable, because we're looking around these rooms at tons of women and it just
feels wait a minute. Men can write?
Hello everyone, I'm Rudrani and welcome to Speak Easy. Today I have the women who are fascinating and they add so much more color to the marvelous Mrs. Maisel's life. I'm talking about the women who are amazing. Hello and welcome to Zoom TV India.
Hello.
Hi.
Rachel, the first question is for you. I'm sure you can draw parallels, especially because you're an actor who didn't have any contacts in the industry. I'm sure you could make parallels with your own life where you thought, okay, now I've made it, but then everything goes back to normal the next day. Tell me about that and what you thought of that in the show.
I mean, I feel really lucky to have spent the early years in this business working with almost exclusively actors who are older and wiser than I am. So I have always known better than to think that you've reached the top, because it doesn't exist. It's a constant evolution. You're always being forced to reevaluate yourself and your priorities and your craft. And frankly, if you ever feel like you've reached the top, you're about to get screwed. I think that Midge and Susie in this season and throughout the course of the show are very much experiencing that and navigating it in real time. How do they come back, and how do they come back even better than they were before? How can they be the truest version of themselves and create space for themselves when there hasn't been space that looks like the kind of space they want to hold before?
One of my favorite bits in the show is about the comparison between comedy and women. And I think a lot of your monologues, and with great writing and with your delivery, brings out those little stereotypes that are relevant even today, like women not being funny, women not knowing how to manage themselves, not being able to take control of their lives or otherwise. Like I said, the favorite thing is comedy is fueled by oppression, by the lack of power, by sadness and disappointment, abandonment and humiliation. Now, this part I want to know, I'm sure you relate to as well, and I'm sure even Alex does. Tell me what you thought of it when you first did this, and how relevant is it even today?
No, it's so, I mean, it's so good, and it I think highlights not just women, a number of other groups who have been left out of this comedy space. That it's true that comedians have to have such a deep well to draw from to be able to make people laugh and to be able to hold up that mirror that brilliant comedians do so well. That was certainly one of my favorite scenes to shoot.
Alex, of course, Susie's a true hustler, and here you see her becoming a mess. She's owning it. I want to know, what do you think of her character graph all these years, Alex? Because she's an interesting character. It almost worthy enough for a spin-off,
Well, I don't know about that. I think what's fun about Susie is the Midge of it all. I think it's the two of them side by side. But thank you. I'll keep it in mind when we start talking about pay grade and getting.
Yes, please.
No, I love that Susie is I always use this word for her, indefatigable. She's tireless. She's endless. And I think, when you were talking about getting to the top and that there's no top and getting to the bottom, when you really look at that analogy of a mountain, we talk about mountain climbers and people scaling the 7 summits, and it has nothing to do with getting to the top. It's the climb. It's the addiction of that climb and that struggle. That's really where the joy is, in my opinion. That's where it's fun, reinventing yourself again and again, trying to find a new thing. And I hope Susie and myself, I hope there is no top. I want to keep that fun struggle alive. That's where the joy is, I think. I don't want to ever get comfortable. And I can't imagine Susie ever being comfortable, either in her own skin or in her career.
Rachel,
oh yeah,
it's up. But I feel like it was 1950s. They didn't want to believe women were funny then, and some still want to believe women are funny even now. Which statement is so problematic and annoying to hear all the time. Tell me, when you were doing this show, I'm sure you were discussing about this as well, and it comes to your mind as saying.
I've never really had a good answer because it makes no sense to me. I think women are women I know, and some of the writers on the show, women are some of the funniest people I know. But Alex said something earlier that I think she should repeat about why that phrase still persists.
Oh, well, I think that phrase, it's usually spoken by someone who is not a woman. It is usually spoken by men. And I think when you look at a funny woman, what does she have most? She has confidence, and confidence is power. And I think it comes down to this power struggle, this kind of white male, we want to be the top of the food chain, and they want to kind of beat that down and just exclaim a woman is not funny. Where I come from and where I grew up, all of the women were funny. We're the funniest people in the family and the strongest, and they ran the show. Whether they pulled in the biggest paycheck or not is a different story. But yeah, I think it's about power. It's about a way to continue to kind of keep women in a lesser position.
And there's nothing more frightening than a confident woman.
Absolutely. And on that subject, Alex, you mentioned pay grade, and it's very interesting that, Rachel, you have a production house now. And I know you want to tell a lot of stories, I'm sure by women and of women as well. They've always said that, when you are at the top, which is at the top power structure, and you put more women there, things will change. I think being a producer gives you that kind of power. Is that also one of your reasons to do that? And of course, a little more on your production company as well.
Yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah, absolutely. I feel an enormous responsibility to pay it forward in this moment. I am here. I'm a product of so many people saying yes to me at really pivotal points in my life and career, and taking chances on me. And I had an opportunity to launch this company, Scrap Paper Pictures. And, we have a first look with Amazon on the television side, and have built out this team of people who are equally as passionate about making the worlds we see on screen, and also the worlds we're a part of behind them, simply more reflective of the world that we live in. It's a super, super simple mission, but it still feels like one of the things that seems so hard for us to do as an industry. So we want to be one of those places that can say yes to exciting new talent, say yes to Alex's earlier point, somebody taking a left turn in their career, trying something new. And it's been amazing. And it's been cool to be able to craft our own world. We realized the other day, not even by our own design, that we have worked almost exclusively with women top to bottom on all the projects that we've been producing and that are in development. And we realized that we didn't even know very many male writers, and we need to do a better job of making our own company more equitable, because we're looking around these rooms at tons of women, and it just
wait a minute. Men can write?
Turns out a few of them can.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm going to end it by asking the two of you this question to show that, women in the 50s, were crawling, making their space, and still fighting back the patriarchy. That for me is so interesting, among a lot of other things. I want to know what for you makes the show feel so much more relevant and necessary even today. Alex, Rachel, both of you.
I mean, it's unfortunately still relevant because we're still climbing uphill. But I think the relationship between Midge and Susie is what people come back for, and the family, the characters of Tony and Marin, and I think that's really why people tune in. They see something that they like and something that feels homey or funny or interesting, and it's the characters that Amy built. But for me, it's Smidge. It's Midge and Susie, and
Right.
that female friendship that's hard to
Yeah,
capture on camera, and I think it does it really well.
That's sisterhood.
Yeah, there's something in it for everyone. I also think it never gets old watching people reinvent themselves. And that's something that every single character on this show has done in one way or another. So it's a beautiful show, but it's also about something so universal, which is people figuring out how they want to use or to amplify a voice they've always had in a brand new way.
Thank you so much. It was lovely chatting with you, Alex and Rachel. And I'm looking forward to watching all the rest of the episodes. I've seen 2 and I love it. Thank you. Thank you for continuing to entertain us.